Hey everybody, hope you're all doing good today. Just time for another fishing report. Going to cover Grand Lake and Table Rock today because I've been fishing up there quite a bit the last week or so. I've been spending quite a few days up there, and just sort of wanted to go over everything a little bit. Start out with Table Rock Lake today. Table Rock's finally starting to come down. The lake's dropping, I'm guessing 5 to 7 inches a day, something like that. And so it's come down probably, I'm guessing 5 to 6 feet from it was last month. And so there's still plenty of water in the bushes. I mean, I was down there the day before yesterday, and I had an instructional flipping trip, and just spent quite a bit of time flipping bushes down there. And you still got anywhere between 5 to maybe 7 foot of water in some of the deeper bushes. The bite down there, as far as the flipping bite goes, it's real situational. I've been a couple days flipping down there, and it's all that area that you're in. The water down on the lower end of the lake, you've got close to 10 foot of visibility, and I can't seem to get many bites flipping down there. And I figured that water would be good because as deep as those bushes were, I figured the flipping would be fairly decent down there. But there's not that many fish using those bushes down on that end of the lake. I think a lot of those fish out there are deeper. I have been catching some fish outside of those bushes in that 10 to 15 foot zone. On the bottom, I haven't been able to get many bites way out off the point suspended like I had been. It's like, for some reason, a lot of those bass, particularly the smallmouth, have been moving just on the outside edge of the flooded timber in that 10 to 15 foot of water, and you can catch them on shaky head, Ned rigs, any type of bottom bouncing lure like that. But I've been really wanting to focus on the flipping, and you can get a lot of flipping bites if you're in the right area of the lake. To me, the key on catching and flipping at Table Rock right now is you've got to get into that water visibility that's sort of in that 4 to 5 foot range, which is still extremely clear, but not as clear as that lower end of the lake. And you'll know when you're in a good area because you start getting bites out of multiple types of cover. A lot of people down there, they just flip exclusively willows because a lot of times you catch your bigger fish out of the willows. But one of the things I found out about there is when you're in the right area, you get bit out of bushes, you get bit out of willow trees, you get bit out of sycamore trees. The fish just really use a lot of different type of trees in the same area. And I've been getting bites, in the back ends, on sides and points. They haven't really been specifically in one particular area. You can get more bites on a small soft plastic. I've been flipping that Zoom Z-Hog Junior quite a bit. It's a fairly small bait, but it's one of my favorite flipping baits. But you can upsize to a big jig, and you can catch your bites way down, but your size goes up a little bit. Little bit of topwater action going down there. If you want to get out real early, that whopper ploppers, walking baits, that type of stuff, that it's not usually lasting too long. There's a little bit of action going on with frogs back shallow in the shady overhanging tree areas. But basically the best 2 ways to catch fish on Table Rock right now is fishing outside of the trees, in around the rounded points, with finesse tactics, or just getting up there and flipping the smaller soft plastics. Now, I've been down at Grand quite a bit. We've been doing quite a bit of work down there with Fish the Moment with Johnny Schultz, filming shows, doing some tips, that type of stuff, just getting content for the website. And Grand has been really tough, real tough. They stopped pulling a lot of current in the lake. And for me, the one thing about Grand is that ever since they set the new normal of 744 for water level down there, to me, that is like the absolute worst water level to fish Grand Lake at 744. And that's basically where it's at right now. That has been for a long time. It used to be down there, it's like 742 was the norm. and you saw the water level at 741 quite a bit. And when you're at that level, it puts so much more good shallow water cover, whether it be rock, wood, whatever like that, available. And it also positions those docks in a lot more fishable depth. But the 744, it's like right at the edge of the bushes, so there's not enough water in the bushes to hold fish. A lot of the good shallow covered rock is underwater and a little bit too deep, particularly on some of the drops and that type of stuff. So, you take that in combination with not pulling much water, that makes the bite real tough. You can still catch some fish out off the bank a little bit. We haven't been catching anything down past about 15 feet. And those fish have been real scattered. Those deeper fish have been really scattered, hard to catch, hard to get many bites fishing it. The other two things that have been working for me down there, where I've been getting, bites, and not a lot of good fish, but, on a typical day, you may have, 1 3-pounder, and, a lot of the other fish are in like 1.5 to 2.25 pound class. But you can get a lot of those type of bites, not a lot, but you can get bit doing that, just fishing, just shallow wood, in a little bit off-colored water, and fishing behind docks. But overall, Grand is really tough right now. It's like, and I don't really understand it beyond what I was just saying about the water level and the lack of current. And the lake's been getting, fishing pressure, but it's not really been getting as much fishing pressure as it has recently with the virus. But personally, I just think that Grand Lake is on a decline. I think the big tournaments have taken a big toll on that lake. I think there's been some water. I think there is some water quality issues with it, and it's sort of like a cycle a lot of different lakes go through. But the best thing that could happen to Grand Lake is if they would if the state of Oklahoma would institute some type of aggressive habitat restoration program on that lake. Docks are good habitat too, and there's a lot of people that plant man-made brush piles, but if the state of Oklahoma would start, really getting aggressive with the efforts on putting a lot of brush, a lot of, man-made rock piles, and reinstitute the water willows in the lake. Grand Lake used to have a ton of water willows in it, and that was one of the best ways to catch bass in the summer I've ever seen. The back end of most all those flat coves on the lake used to have lots and lots of water willows in it, and they're just gone now. So, if the water willows could get reestablished in Grand Lake, I think that would just really help out, particularly the warmer weather fishing. But anyway, we're starting to get into that transition period right now. When you start getting in mid-July into August, first part of September, traditionally in this part of the country, the Ozarks, that's some of the toughest time of year to catch fish, because the fish start to scatter a little bit more. The schools break up. You can catch fish in a lot of different depths. A lot of them are suspended, and it happens that way every year. So, the best thing I could leave you with when you're fishing this time of year is just keep an open mind, and just realize that there's a lot of different ways you can catch fish, and you sort of have to set your expectations for the season, because right now, if you go to Table Rock Lake and you catch a 15 or 16 pound bag of fish, that is a really, really good day on the water. And the same at Grand Lake. Obviously those weights are a little bit bigger earlier in the year, but that's just sort of the way it is right now. But anyway, that's the report for this week. Like I said, it's a lot of it just depends, as far as moving forward on current flows and water level. But I'll try to keep you updated, every week, every other week on what the fishing is around here. And hey, I might as well throw in Stockton right now, because I have been fishing up at Stockton. I've been up there 2 or 3 times over the past probably a week and a half or 2 weeks. And I included a little bit in my last report what's going on, and sort of the same thing right now at Stockton's been going on as far as that transition. The water has finally came down to to where there's not enough water in the bushes to make it a factor. And most all those fish right now at Stockton are just, they flock to the brush, the deeper brush in that particular lake. There's a lot of brush in Stockton Lake, lots and lots. There's very few points on Stockton Lake that do not have brush on them to some extent. So the thing that I would advise if you're going to Stockton right now is just get out off those points, graph around, find your brush piles. When you find one, toss a marker buoy out, because a lot of these brush piles are not like real big, and you can idle over one and you may catch part of it on your sonar's cone, but a lot of times if you idle over one, turn around, even if you drop a waypoint, it's hard to pinpoint where that pile is. So what I like to do is I like to idle over the pile, throw out a buoy maybe 30 feet away from the pile as a reference, and then back off and start fishing that. For me, the best bait has been, there's two different baits I've been catching them on out deep like that. One is the Megabass Dark Sleeper swim bait, and two is the Zoom Old Monster, the 10-inch worm in the red bud color, like with a 3/8 ounce lip sinker. Best piles for me have been in the ones that are in like 15 to 20 feet. You'll find them in anywhere between 10 to 30 feet of water, but that's sort of been the best depth range for me, because I think that's where the best oxygen is. I think that thermocline right now is right at 17, 20 feet, something like that. So if you're going to Stockton Lake right now, and this is going to hold up for the next month or so, I would recommend putting everything away. Yeah, you can catch a few fish on the top water early, but other than that, I would recommend putting everything away and just graphing for those fish on the brush piles and spend your time doing that. So anyway, that's the report for this week. Finally, like I said, I appreciate you guys tuning in, I really do. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, I'd really appreciate it if you just hit that subscribe button. That really helps out a lot. And keep your comments coming. Let me know if there's anything you'd like me to talk about. I love sharing stuff that I came across fishing. Just sharing ideas, sharing information. So keep those comments coming in, because most of the YouTube videos I do are based upon the comments I get from the subscribers I have. So anyway, hope you guys are doing good, and we'll check in later with another report. See ya.